Good day, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Andrew's Life. This video is going to basically be discussing whether or rather not home ownership is for you. Well, as you guys know, the housing market out here is pretty crazy. I mean, if you've been out here shopping for a house or you've been out here talking to other people, you probably realize that the current housing market is just ridiculous. It's crazy. Housing prices are going up, it seems like, every minute. So how do you know whether home ownership is for you or not? And that's an important question that you're going to want to answer before you spend a bunch of time looking at houses and filling out loan applications, and before you spend a bunch of money on down payments and home inspections and such. So basically, with home ownership, I mean, you hear a lot of people talk about, well, I'd rather own a home because owning a home is cheaper than paying rent. And I would say, for the most part, no, it's not. In the long run, it is, because you buy a home and you pay it off. You don't have to worry about paying that bill any longer. So I guess if you look at it from that standpoint, in the long run, yes, it is cheaper. But in the short term, like if you compare your mortgage payment versus a rent payment, I would say at best, you're not going to really save any money in the short term having a mortgage in comparison to paying rent. And I'll probably do a quick video of breaking down some of the advantages of being a renter versus being a homeowner. But this video is going to be about whether home ownership is for you or not. I mean, basically, if you're wanting to be a homeowner, there's a few things that you're going to need to keep in mind. I mean, number one, beyond just purchasing the house itself, you're going to also have to budget money for home repairs. Like if you're living in a rental property and something goes wrong with that particular property, all you got to do is phone your landlord, and then it would be your landlord's responsibility to come out to the property and to do the necessary repairs. And if they don't do it, then you can report them to the housing authority, and then they can get in big trouble, and then 9 times out of 10 they're going to do the repairs. But if you purchase your home, you now become a homeowner, and part of being a homeowner means anything that goes wrong with the house, it's going to be your responsibility to do all the repairs. Like if you wake up one day in the middle of winter, for those of you that live in cooler climates, and maybe it's, I don't know, 30 degrees outside, you wake up, you're freezing, you go to adjust the temperature on your furnace, or you just discover that your furnace quit working. Well, at that point, you're going to have to either A, if you don't have any connections that you can call and they can come for a low price and fix your furnace, you're going to have to call a technician to come out to your home and do whatever repair your furnace is going to require in order to get your furnace to work again. Or 2, you might even have to replace the whole entire unit if you have an older one. So you might wake up one morning and you might be hit with a $3,000 to $4,000 repair that was completely unexpected. Which is why when you become a homeowner, you need to set aside money on a regular basis every month out of every paycheck for home repairs. Because you might wake up one day, something might happen, and that repair cost might run you $3,000 or $4,000. You might get, it might run you $1,000, $2,000. You never really know what could go wrong and when. I don't care if you're living in an older home like I am, or if you go out here and you buy you a newer home. It doesn't matter. I mean, the way they throw up a lot of these newer homes, you could wake up one day and your home warranty might be up and something might go wrong. Like, once again, your furnace might go out, your roof might start losing shingles, and if you have to get someone to go out there and do the repairs for you, then you could unexpectedly have to pay $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 or $4,000 for a repair that you may have not necessarily budgeted, that you may not necessarily even have the money to pay at that particular time. Which means you're gonna have to go without certain stuff. You might have to be a little bit uncomfortable at times. Or you're gonna have to shuffle your budget to where you get those repairs made, and then you're gonna have to go out, you're gonna have to go without something else. So that's one thing that you're going to want to consider before you become a homeowner. I mean, personally, my suggestion is, if you're going to become a homeowner, the easiest way to become a homeowner is before you become a homeowner, have at least $4,000 or $5,000 put away in savings. That way, when something goes wrong with your home, you at least got some kind of money to do some sort of repairs. Now, to be honest with you people, when I purchased all my houses, I was broke. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, the house I'm living in right now is the very first house that I've purchased, and I did it in a manner that was responsible. I mean, this house I'm in right now, I worked the oil field for a little bit, and I got burnt out. I quit, and I came back to my hometown, and I purchased this house, and I paid cash. Because the house I had before, I was gonna fix that house up with my oil money, but I determined that, for one, the house needed way too much work. Two, the house was way too big. Utilities were way too expensive. And the maintenance and upkeep was just too much. I mean, I'm the only person in the house, so I didn't feel the need for a house that big. So I decided to take that money and buy this house and pay cash. And all the repairs I've done to this house so far, I've been able to fund using cash money. So if you're gonna buy a house, I would suggest you have at least a few $1,000s in savings for repairs. So that's going to be something you're going to want to bear in mind before you purchase a home. Are you prepared to do repairs? Are you going to want to do repairs? Are you going to want to take the time necessary to shop around for a decent price for repairs? And if you're handy or you got connections, are you going to want to take the time to go to your toolbox, get out the hammer, get out the screwdrivers, get out the wrenches, and do whatever you got to do? Go to Lowe's and buy whatever supplies and hardware that you got to buy to do your repairs. I mean, are you going to want to are you going to want to use up some of your free time to do home repairs? Are you going to want to get out and have to cut grass once a week? I mean, those are things you got to think about before you buy a house. Now, if you're one of these people that you want a house that's maintenance free, I mean, there is such thing as a house that's low maintenance, but as far as a maintenance free house, I don't care how small the house is, how big the house is. I don't care about the age of the house. There is no such thing as a maintenance free house. So if you're just gonna, I'm gonna go buy a condo, that way I ain't gotta worry about doing maintenance. Well, even with the condo, you're gonna still have to do maintenance. I mean, because like when you pay your association fees at a condo, the only thing they're going to cover is, they might cover sewage, they'll cover your garbage, because basically you just throw your crap in a dumpster. And as far as maintenance goes, they're going to cover anything that is outside. Like they'll cover your roof, and anything that's exterior they'll cover. But everything that's on the inside of that unit is your responsibility. So with a condo, just like with a house, if your furnace goes out, your air conditioner goes out, you gotta, it's gonna be your responsibility to either repair or replace that stuff. And so if your oven goes out, your refrigerator, are you gonna be able to shell out the money to replace all that? Are you going to want to take the time to replace all that when the time comes? I mean, you got to ask yourself, are you going to want to assume the basic responsibilities of being a responsible homeowner? Saving money for repairs, and then when things need to be done, getting them done. If you don't got the money to get certain things done, are you going to be willing to go without certain stuff and just be a little bit uncomfortable? Like if your air conditioner goes out during the summer, are you going to be willing to toughen it out and just maybe go to Lowe's and get you a window unit and just shove it in and just get you a couple of window units, and maybe whatever rooms you occupy the most, just shove it in those rooms, and then the rest of the house you always have to crack open windows and cut on the fan? I mean, are you going to be willing to do little stuff like that temporarily until you get enough money to replace the air conditioning unit? That's just one example of things that I had to do over the years when I first became a homeowner. I mean, there were times that I had to do without certain stuff because I just didn't have the money to make those repairs. In fact, the last house I purchased that house back in the mid 2010s. It's like back in 2015. I mean, I would say the very first utility bill I got was way more expensive than what it should have been. So I'm thinking, okay, what's going on? So I look at my water bill. Now my water bill where I live typically runs about $25 a month for a single person. Well, my water bill was $300. So I call a water company up thinking, okay, they made a mistake. And I'll get and they made a mistake and they'll readjust my bill. Well, I go to call them and we discussed the bill over the phone, and then they told me, well, you're using X amount of water, you probably have a water leak. So okay, well, I get off the phone and I go ahead and I call my local plumber to come and check out my situation and see if I do have a leak. Well, my plumber comes over, he opens up the water meter, and even though I was not running any water, all my faucets at the time were shut off, my meter kept on going as if I was running water, as if I did have the sink or the bathtub on or whatever. So then he goes ahead and checks my pipes that were under my house in the crawl. None of my pipes had leaks. In fact, they were just recently replaced. So all the plumbing was fairly new. So okay, well, the only logical thing is I had a water leak in the main water line. So my plumber at the time, he wanted a couple of $1,000s to repair the water line issue. At that time, I did not have a couple of $1,000s. I mean, at this time, I was making $11 an hour as a security officer. So I didn't have the money to put in for a new water line. So, then he proceeded to ask me, well, if you want, you can fill out this document and then you can get a loan for this bill. So I'm thinking, now mind you, this by then I was already on the journey of getting myself and keeping myself out of debt. I mean, me becoming a homeowner was part of my plan to get out of debt and build wealth. And I'm thinking, okay, well, this house I purchased, the payments were $400 a month, which was cheaper than the rent in the area. And I'm just thinking I can probably save up an extra few $100s a month on top of that. And then once I get a chunk of money saved up, I'll just go in and do all the necessary repairs, because my other house was a fixer-upper. Well, the water thing kind of, was one of those unexpected bills, or unexpected, I guess, repairs that needed to be done, which I did not budget for. So anyhow, he asked me, okay, well, you can fill out the document if you want. And I'm asking him, so I look at the document, I read everything, and then I noticed that the interest rate is 25%. And I was like, man, I'm not paying no 25% interest. That's ridiculous. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to put myself back in debt for no reason. So I gave him back the document, and I told him I'm not doing that. That's, the interest is way too much. I can't do it. And then he's like, well, you need water, don't you? And I told him, it's like, so I'll figure it out. I'll see you later. So he left, and I would say I sat around for maybe an hour trying to figure out how I was going to survive in this house without water. Because I liked the house, I liked the area, and at the time I didn't want to just let the house go, because I've put a considerable amount of money down for this house. I mean, I was buying this house on a land contract, and I put a considerable amount of money down for it. And my plan was to have this house paid off in 4 years, which I did do. Actually, I did it a little sooner than 4 years, because I was on the grind like a motherfucker. But anyways, so I figured out, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and just do this and do that, and this is how I can make it without having running water. So what I did was, I went to Walmart, and I purchased me 4 5-gallon things of water, the type where you can refill every time you're empty. So for 2 years, for the first 2 years I owned that house, I did that. And what I would do is, I would fill my sinks up with water. I mean, one side of the sink I'll throw in a little bit of bleach. On the other side of the sink was just plain water. So on the side with the bleach, of course, I would use that water to wash my dishes, wash my hands. And then on the other side, I rinsed all my dishes and I rinsed my hands. Now, if I had to do a number one, I had a urinal. Once I took care of my business off in the urinal, I took the urinal outside and I went to an area where people couldn't see me, and I dumped out the contents. If I had to do a number two, what I would do was I would try to time it to where if I'm gonna go somewhere, I'll stop off at the gas station, and while I'm getting gas in my vehicle, I'll go and I'll use the bathroom in the gas station. That way I can use running hot water and soap to wash my hands. And plus I can take care of my business and flush it down the toilet. Now if I wasn't going to go anywhere, like if it was like real late at night, real early in the morning, and I woke up and I had to take care of business and I had to do a number two, what I did was I had one of those little porta potties that they use in nursing homes for residents who are incontinent or got poor mobility. I went to Walmart and I purchased one of those, and I put it in my bathroom. And what I did was I put the part where your business goes, I put a garbage bag in there, and then I filled the garbage bag up like part way with cat litter. because cat litter is pretty good at hiding odor, not only from animals but also from humans. So I took a garbage bag and I put it in the toilet, in the porta potty. I filled it like halfway, give or take, with cat litter, and then I sat down and I did my business. And then when I got done doing my business and I got done, cleaning up after myself, I took that garbage bag, wrapped it up real tight, and I also had some laundry sheets. So I took a laundry sheet and I threw it in a garbage bag to further hide the odor. So I tied all that crap up and I took it outside immediately and I threw it in my garbage. And then whenever I had to do it each time I had to do it number two, that's what I did. But for the most part, I would try, when I had to do it number two, I would time it to where, okay, if I'm going to go somewhere, I'm going to stop off at the gas station and do it. Or when I get to my destination, I'll go to the bathroom there and do it. That way I ain't got to go through all that. And plus I can use hot soap and water to wash my hands. And of course, with that in mind, I also had me some sanitizer, and some baby wipes. So what I would do is, I would use baby wipes to kind of wipe my hands, and then I would use sanitizer to sterilize them. So that's how I got around not having running water but still being sanitary. Now obviously if I had kids and a family, that wouldn't have worked. I mean, to say the least, I probably would have gotten in trouble by children's services and the health department. But since I'm by myself, I was able to do that. So that's my little story of how I survived without running water, and I give it that, and I tell that story because that's my example of how sometimes when you become a homeowner and unexpected stuff breaks on you, you're going to have to find a way to, if you don't have the money to make those repairs at that particular time, you're going to have to find a way to go without. You're going to have to think outside the box. You're going to have to be clever. You're going to have to make some sacrifices that you really don't want to make. You're going to have to be uncomfortable for a little bit of time. Now for me, I was doing what I was doing for 2 years. And then finally I saved up enough money to get the water line fixed. So I fixed the water line, and once I fixed the water line, I didn't know what the hell to do. I mean, I thought I was, it's kind of like, I don't know, it's weird because I would go in my bathroom every couple of minutes and just flush the toilet. I would go in the kitchen, cut on the faucet, and water comes out. It was like having a new toy because I went 2 years without all that. So yeah, if you're gonna be a homeowner, especially if you don't make a lot of money, those are the kind of things you're gonna want to consider. Do you want to do that? Do you want to have to make sacrifices? Are you prepared to? Do you got the money to take care of your business whenever business comes up? Do you want to bear the responsibility of a homeowner? Those are the type of questions that you're going to have to ask yourself, and you should ask yourself and answer your own questions before going through everything that it takes to purchase a home. So that's my video for whether or rather not you should be a homeowner. So everybody have a blessed one. I will see you guys on the next video.